Namaste, Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to MMK The Eagle View. Today we are going to see a very important update on what's happening in the western part of Pakistan, which is Balochistan. So Balochistan, to give a historical perspective, was a separate kingdom prior to independence. They never wanted to join Pakistan or be the part of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. The king himself resisted it, but Pakistan by its military power took over Balochistan. Since then, the insurgencies are quite high. They have been fighting for a separate Baluchi land for quite some time now. But this movement was completely crushed somewhere in 2000 to 2005. Later we saw a resurgence of it. Now we see the peak of Baluchi insurgency, very, very active, predominantly led by Balochistan Liberation Army, BLA, which is led by Bashir Zaib Baluch. So Baluchis have a very strong nationalistic identity. So let's look at this specific incident of what happened there. So Baluch Liberation Army launched an operation called Operation Dara-e-Bolan. Operation Dara-e-Bolan was an operation which was launched against the Pakistani forces, which they call it as an occupying forces, and Pakistani paramilitary forces. The location of this, as you can see the map, it is in the Bolan area of Balochistan, where there is a considerable movement of goods which happens for the CPEC project. So the highway which leads to Gavadar has been completely under siege now. All the entry and exit points of the Keystone has been taken over by the BLA. So BLA predominantly led by three of his assault forces. One is the Majid Brigade, which is the suicide squad of BLA. And then we have an intelligence wing, a support platoon, and the Fateh squad, which is specialized in hand-to-hand combat. So this is the size of the force, 500 plus BLA soldiers, and especially the Majid Brigade, which is like typically a commando trained unit. So they have launched a massive offensive on the Pakistani forces, per se on the Pakistani military establishment. So 5 of these locations were targeted, and scores of people have been killed. So basically this 5 includes Pakistan, one of the police stations where the Baluchi rebels or the Baluchi freedom movement people, especially the youngsters, were kept on unlawful detention, extrajudicial killing, and forced missing persons. So these are the 3 major areas where they have targeted. So the police station, the paramilitary forces headquarters, the military forces for Frontier Corps headquarters, and a railway station and a jail. So all these 5 locations have been targeted by them, and the city has been completely taken over by the BLA. Pakistanis, as usual, peddled a very fake narrative of, there were few 5 or 6 odd rockets which was fired in Baluch province. The standard statement of Pakistani forces that there was an attempt to, take control of the Make city, but we have kind of dismantled it. We rebutted. Forces did a wonderful job, and the terrorists ran away. So this is a standard narrative, but the ground sources shows the other side. BLA, which has also got a very prominent social media presence in Telegram and in Twitter, have been publishing regular updates and there are video evidences where you can see the Baluchi liberation soldiers have been freely moving around in the city. The city is under their control. Pakistani forces have now been restricted within the FC, the Frontier Corps headquarters, and the city, or I would say a district, is literally under the control of BLA. No, it's no more in the control of Pakistani army. But because of the sheer size of the Pakistani army, they will eventually revert it. But BLA's yesterday's release has clearly told that the BLA's Majid Brigade will fight the last man, last bullet, and Pakistani army will have to face the consequences. They also had made it very, very clear that Pakistani military establishment has been peddling lies. There is a sizable amount of casualties involved in it, and one of the thing you can see it on your screen. Trauma center and emergency department of Quetta, where all the nearest Pakistani town, which is right now under the control of Pakistan, is Quetta, which is 70 kilometers away from Turbat, this particular location. So they have published a casualty report, which is like Abdul Malik, Mohammad Yazir, Sorab Khan, Wajid Ali, Ashik Hussain. So most of these guys are have suffered major to very serious injuries. They've been diagnosed with gunshot wounds. So this has been published on 30th of Jan at 11:20 a.m. by the Pakistani Quetta military hospital, the general hospital. So if you look at this particular incident of what is happening exactly and how many people have been killed, where they have clearly the official toll is around 13 plus, but Baluchi Liberation Army's official correspondent have confirmed it to be in excess of 80. So more than 80 people have got killed in this operation, and a lot of casualties, more fatal casualties are expected because of the sheer intensity of this particular military operation. Now they have been effectively using IEDs, they have been effectively using weapons, they have been firing rockets, but the target is precisely the Pakistani army and its paramilitary force, the Frontier Corps. It is not the Pakistani police force or even the revenue department or other government officials of Pakistan. So they are clearly taking on the Pakistani forces, ISI agents, ISI officers and the Frontier Corps people. Now what is happening? Pakistan claimed to have reclaimed that territory, but Baluchis are very clear even now what they are posting in the social media, in Twitter, in the X account. You can clearly see the reality is something different. And the Baluchis have recently claimed that 15 of its members has been killed and its chief Bashir Zeb Baluch has been injured. So they are officially accepting their own casualties as well. Unlike what Pakistanis do, that they don't agree to it, there's been a complete internet shutdown. Foreign media has been evacuated from that particular location. Nobody knows what is really happening. But our friend in OSINT, who runs a OSINT channel, we all know, we did a special episode about OSINT. They have been posting regular credible updates in their Telegram channel. We will republish their Telegram channel in the description. Those who want to see those videos can go and see there, because the videos, the kind of intensity and the sheer bloodiness of the video doesn't permit us to put it in the YouTube. So people who are interested in seeing those live visuals and recorded visuals of what BLA did to Pakistani army, it is up there. Now the 70-kilometer long stretch of Turbat highway has been blocked. It has been taken under control. They have established the BLA has established border post. Now the Pakistanis are yet to go inside. There are credible videos which comes in where Pakistanis have been flying drones continuously on Turbat. There have been movement of fighter planes and attack helicopters. But this is a very, very bad news in terms of the sheer size of the attack. Now if you look at the visuals, this is a very, very planned operation. It is not just a militant group, launching a random hit and run kind of an operation. It's a very well planned military operation, and these people have been tactically sound. They seem to be very, very professional, well equipped, well kitted, and they have been executing this operation in a very professional way. And there is a likely casualty of one senior Pakistani military official, who is Major General Amir Ajmal, Inspector General of Frontier Corps, Baluch Province. He has been either killed or wounded, we don't know it. To counter this, Pakistani fake propaganda immediately published a photo which you can see there. They said he is hale and healthy and has been leading the operation on the front. But there are a lot of glaring loopholes in that picture which was raised by OSINT. We can see the tweet there. There is in the middle of the night, this guy wears a ribbon, he has the aviator glasses, and then there is a sunlight which is coming into it. The photo is dodged and marked it clear, just very, very clear. So this has been completely taken over, a classic military operation. Pakistanis have literally lost control over it, but definitely they will eventually gain control by the sheer size of the military. We don't know what counter action they are going to take on the Baluchi Liberation Organization, but be rest assured they have a very solid professional training. They have been doing this effectively. This particular operation is, I would say, a flagship. It's a flagship military operation where they literally took on Pakistanis, and Pakistani army was caught with their pants down. So the BLA has been going on even now. 5 minutes before, I'm reading a very credible a user who posts regular updates about it. Even now, they said Baluch Liberation Army claims its Operation Dari Bolan is still going on successfully, and despite the passage of 40 hours, the city of Maj Bolan is under the complete control of Balochistan Saramchars. So Saramchars are basically the fighters whom they claim. And the Baluchis being the victim of human rights violation, there are three things which Baluchis often raise. A couple of Baluchi friends also say is that the literacy rate of Baluchi province as such is less than 30%. There is no proper government setup in terms of even basic primary healthcare facilities. It doesn't reach. Baluchis contribute to 60% of the landmass of Pakistan. They contribute to almost 80% of the mineral wealth which has been outsourced to the Chinese companies. So they have been suffering both sides of the border. Even in Iran they are minorities. They suffer under the hands of the Shias. Out here they suffer under the hands of these people. So it's a very complex situation where they would want to have a Baluchi land. Now, second thing is forced disappearances. Kids are randomly picked up from the school, from the colleges, and the parents never get to see their kids back. Disappearances. Third thing is the extrajudicial killing, which they've been taken by the so-called anti-terrorism squad. Their offices are established all across. Then they get brutally killed by the ISI agents in Pakistani army. And there are nominated killings, like where the ISI hired gangsters, they go on a killing spree. So a lot of these people have migrated out. They have tried to put a government in exile in place. They have been seeking the Indian government's help. They have been actively lobbying in Delhi. In fact, 15th of August 2018, Prime Minister Modi did mention about the Baluchi struggle in his Independence Day speech, which is very, very remarkable. Even Indian government is also keenly looking at on the Baluchi struggle. So beyond a point, this insurgency has reached to a level. BLA has got a resurgence. They have a tactical agreement with the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban of Pakistan. They join hands with them. There are a couple of professional armies who help them to do this. We can just make it out by the sheer professionalism and accuracy in which they did this operation. So 90 plus casualties is what we can expect, but Pakistani army is never going to accept it. They still say they have been, this effort of capturing by the Baluchi rebels have been rebutted, and we have taken back the territory. These terrorists will be taught a lesson. They will be sent to hell. These are the 5 famous, sentences which the ISPR publishes, and all these Pakistani morons who keep retweeting it. They believe the story and keep retweeting it. But clearly, on a strategic level, Baluchi freedom struggle is heading into the way of Bangladesh way back in 1965 to 70s. It has all the signs of the Bangladeshi freedom struggle. Then it was Mukti Bagni, now it has been Baluchi Liberation Army and Baluchi Liberation Front, Baluchi Revolution Army. So all this concept, basically they all come under Baluchi Liberation Army. And there is a sizable political uprise as well. We can see this particular video where Hemcharam Baluch, a woman leader, is addressing a massive gathering of Baluchis where they have started the political movement as well. But unlike Bangladesh, here the problem with Baluchis is they lack the numerical threshold. They lack the numerical threshold to go on a full-fledged offensive against Pakistani state forces and against the Pakistan government. So it has to be a mix of political and the militant-based approach which is currently on. They need to effectively lobby with the international, arena, especially with the US, especially with the Europe, West, and the paramount is India. They should try to form a government in exile, and I think it's high time India supports this particular freedom struggle, which we did so in 72. And Baluchis have a very, very strong cultural similarities and identification with the Indian culture. So it makes a lot of sense for us to actually to support this legitimate movement. Maybe I'm not saying that we should be supporting a terrorist organization, but to politically support this movement is the need of the hour, because Pakistan would pay a double price if Balochistan eventually gets separated, formed as a separate nation. And remember, Balochistan does have a border with us. If we consider that as a separate country, it does have a border with us. Baluchi freedom struggle, politically, not militarily, has to be supported by India. That's what my thing is. But when do we actually play this card depends on, then I'll leave it to the experts of the foreign affairs. But our Prime Minister did mention about the Balochi freedom struggle. If the Balochi's government in exile exists, it transforms and it comes into a reality, possibly we should also recognize that government because the current situation for Pakistan is just disastrous. It's clearly heading into the path of 1965 to 70, the Bangladesh era. Brutality of highest order, extrajudicial killing, and brutal crackdown of on their own civilians, bombing their own civilians, and it perfectly brewed into a freedom struggle. It eventually got birth of a new nation called Bangladesh. So we can expect Pakistan to continue this. There is a problem with their western borders, Balochistan. There is a problem in their Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region. Couple of their region is not under them physically or even by law. It is under TTP. TTP has implemented Sharia in those locations. We see Sindhu uprising also. Sindhis also wanted to join this. And I am in touch with few Sindhis who want the Sindhu Desh movement going on, which is like slowly picking up. We saw visuals from Gilgit-Baltistan. There is a mass protest. They want to come and join with India, the occupied Kashmir of Pakistan. And they have a very, very strained relation with India. But as of now, the border is very calm, very quiet, except few firing incidents. But Pakistan is kind of annoyed all of its neighbor, be it Iran, be it Afghanistan, internally their own people. Eventually, what current Pakistan means is the Punjab side of Pakistan, which is not the whole Pakistan as such. So we will see the downfall of this disintegrating into a few independent nations will eventually prosper along with the support of India and other countries is clearly evident. This may be a threshold, this movement will be cracked, all those Balochi fighters eventually will face death. But the level at which they have been holding territory for more than 2 days against the 7th largest powerful military force in the world is just astonishing. Let's keep this update going on Balochistan. Thank you all. Jai Hind.